Hi everyone, it's Tiny C. Wilson, Miss Philadelphia 2024, and you're listening to Unpacking with Eric and Kai.
Greetings and salutations. I am Kaylin Allen, and you are listening to Unpacking.
This is Angelica Ross, and you are listening to Unpacking with Eric and Kai.
This is Tariq Ali, and you're listening to Unpacking with Eric and Kai.
Hey, y'all, this is Julian King. You're listening to Unpacking with Eric and Kai.
This is City Council Member Rue Landau, and you're listening to Unpacking with Eric and Kai.
This is Soleil, and you're...
What's poppin'?
Hey, everybody. We are live, Kai. This is Unpacking Unplugged. We made it.
Yes.
And Unpackers, we're thrilled to welcome the homie, a close friend, Marquise Richards, who is a dynamic podcast host and influencer. We'll be unpacking all of that. Who's making big waves, Philadelphia creative waves here in the city of Philadelphia. Born and raised in Reading, Pennsylvania, Marquise's journey from humble beginnings to becoming one of Philly's most influential voices is nothing short of inspiring. I know I'm inspired, Kai.
Absolutely, Eric. And listen, it's one thing that Keith, was making groundbreaking moves with his platform, Keepin It a Bean podcast. But, my boy done released his own coffee blend. He got Leroy's blend. So we're going to be unpacking all of that, the entrepreneurship of it all, the influencer of it all. He's really the man in Philly right now. So I'm interested to hear his story.
What?
Are you gagging?
No, just a little bit. I was like, that was such a nice intro. No, thank y'all so much. I'm so hyped to be here. I remember last April being in the room with y'all when your radio show went live. So it's cool to be on the other side now. So thank y'all for having me, and I appreciate the warm welcome.
Yes, thank you for being
We're
here.
moving on up, Keith.
Okay, we got
we want to be like you when we grow up. You know what I'm saying? So
nah. I said y'all got radio. Stop playing.
You right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. All right. So we ready? It sounds like everybody ready. Unpackers, get ready for this exciting conversation tonight with Marquise. We're going to unpack the creative process, the evolution of his podcast, and what's next for him. But first, let's go ahead and get personal. We're going to learn a little bit more about the man behind the mic. We're going to do a little icebreaker called Spill the Beans. How you feel about that, Kai?
It's only right. It's only right. He got to feel good about it.
Y'all ate that.
Now, Keith,
Spill the Beans. You like that?
This is an unpacking staple, so we had to bring it to Unpacking Unplugged. We do a rapid fire game, and we kind of make the game custom to each person. So I'm telling you it's rapid fire because I want you to answer rapid fire.
Yep.
My old teacher, Miss Abbott, from which Abbott Elementary has been named, used to say, if you think long, you think wrong.
Yeah,
so don't be thinking long. Give us the first thing so we can get your tea. Or your coffee. All right. So first question is the easy one. What's your go-to coffee order?
My go-to coffee order, you just give me a medium roast coffee, throw a little bit of oat milk in there, and I'm good to go.
Okay.
I'm an oat milk too. I'm lactose intolerant.
Same. I can't do it.
All right. Next one. Are you a morning person or a night owl?
I'm a morning person in solitude. Don't have to talk to me. Just let me be on my own, and I'm gonna be happy.
That's interesting because I would think that you're a night owl, that creative process kicks in at night.
But it hits in the morning.
Okay.
Same. My creative hits in it, but I'm a morning person that's obnoxious because I'm morning and my grinds are gearing, and I want to talk. I want to unpack. Yes, it's 7 a.m., but it's time to unpack. But y'all are everybody else grumpy, so.
Meanwhile, I'm trying to quietly sip my coffee.
Yeah, Eric was like, "Don't talk to me until I'm just." I was like, "Okay, girl, well, I'm gonna sit here till you finish." But
right,
I'm gonna be thinking.
But I'm ready to talk when you are.
Yes. Okay. Your next one what is your favorite Philly spot to grab a bite? Where you like to eat at?
Oh, that is good. So I got two. La Llorona Cantina. That's going to be in South Philly, but the only time I'm ever going to go down there. However, they have the best tacos in Philly, in my opinion, and a wonderful happy hour. But if I want a good burger, I'm going over to Two Robbers for their smash burger. It is A1.
Ooh, that does sound good. I might have to try them out. I'm always looking for a new Philly spot to eat. We got so many options here. That's the beautiful thing. One of the beautiful things about Philly. All right, next one. Last thing you binge watch?
Castlevania on Netflix. I finished
I
binge
did see
watching.
that.
Yep, season 2, Castlevania Nocturne came out, and I watched that all in a total of 2 days.
He had time.
and I did.
Sometimes
What?
shows will just get you like that, and you just watch.
Yeah.
It's been that way for me lately with Prison Break. I started from
Oh.
season 1. I'm on season 4 right now, about to go into season 5.
Which is so funny.
And I think they're filming a season 6.
No, they're not.
Because one of the actors that I follow, the one who's Michael, I think, is the main character.
Yeah.
That breaks his brother out. He posted a video and it was like hashtag season 6. Not a video. He posted a photo on his Instagram. Yeah.
Let me find out they coming back. What they gonna start with next?
Eric, why you watching Prison Break? I know you're not in there looking at the prison trade. Don't start it. If I catch you on a pen pal, I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna get on the radio.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna get on the radio and read your letters.
Speaking of which, shout out to Sucre. Yes, prison trade.
I don't even know what that means.
I hope he comes back. He's one of the. He's exactly what you're calling out.
I don't even know what that means. Touches my crystals.
Right.
Okay. Keith, now I'm interested in your answer to this. What is the most surprising thing about you that people wouldn't guess?
Most surprising thing about me that people wouldn't guess. Ooh. Surprising thing people wouldn't guess. I'm a little bit more athletic than people like to lead on. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I used to play sports when I was a kid. I was dancing. I was doing all the stuff.
Rugby
and so quiet as a
legs.
cat. That I'm trying to tell people. I say, what are you using this for? I said, I'm actually a little bit more athletic than I lead on to be. I like to just play like I'm a little bit more demure and dainty, but no.
I don't think nobody think you demure and dainty. Keith, like
I whenever
football player, like I would think that.
I'm saying, but people don't go with that right away. They're just like, "Oh, you did theater. You were this. You don't like to move things."
You're articulate.
I don't. Okay, that's it.
You
know
spell
how it
words
goes.
correctly. You don't know how
you like to read.
Right.
Yeah, until you get a hug from this man, okay, or a handshake, it'll change everything.
7 seconds. Hold it in.
Oh,
Be strong on that hug. It's a good hug.
Oh my.
Oh dear. Oh my. All right. Next one. Celebrity crush. Give us a celebrity crush.
And don't lie.
I already know who you about to say. I knew you was about to say.
What we talking about?
You love that man. And
I do.
But he's the prototype for you, right? Like,
yes.
stature, height, all of that.
Just crush me.
Baku.
Okay. Wow. Break the back. Sorry.
It was the way you sat there. It was the way. As soon as I said it, you immediately was like, like you got a quick, like you quit the spirit. Like,
caught it. Sorry, I realized we are on radio. My bad.
That man got you in a chokehold. But you know what? It was a real reaction, and we were flipping it and dropping it without context.
That is crazy.
That will be happening. Okay, if you could only listen to one artist for the rest of your life, who would it be?
Oh, it's Beyonce, easily.
Oh, I thought you might have.
Y'all so predictable. The gay is so predictable. Come on, y'all.
I know you love Kendrick. I thought you was gonna say that, but no. Beyonce is top billing for you.
Yes. Beyonce's top billing for me. You give me her, Jasmine Sullivan, and I'm good to go.
Fair.
All right. Very fair. Very fair. All right. Next question. Dream podcast guests, dead or alive. Who do you want to interview?
Podcast. Oh, wow.
Who you want to keep it a bean with, Keith?
Honestly, my dream podcast guest to this day is still Mark Lamont Hill. Like, he is actually a big reason that I wanted to merge together my podcasting, but also like being able to like bring this academic approach to it as well. And I really, really appreciate. He was really a big part of my political awakening and the Black radical tradition. And so, for me personally, Mark Lamont Hill is somebody like absolutely would love to just interview and just also give him his flowers in terms of like how he has helped shape my politic as well.
He's brilliant, super smart.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Mark Lamont Hill.
Truly, right up at Uncle Bobby's. Right.
You would eat that interview. We are manifesting that for you because I would love to see that.
It's coming this year. It's coming this year. I'm gonna claim it.
Listen, Ashe.
Yeah.
What's one guilty pleasure that you'll never give up? One guilty pleasure.
A guilty pleasure that I will never give up. I really, really like little white small town dramas. I love, like, if you give me like a Virgin River, I just started doing that. If you give me like a Sweet Magnolias, do that. I like quiet white mess. Okay. Love it.
Just give an escape from reality.
And it is. Because I said, wow, look at them being just as trash as the rest. Wow, y'all got.
What would be life? What would be like with minimum trauma? Like, oh my god!
Wow, is this what life is like?
Yes, I love it. I love it.
No, God, unless it's extreme weather, because according to Keys, beaches and snow both are. It's too extreme for him, so he don't like either one of those. So you can't take him to the beach. We can't go skiing. We're not going to the Poconos.
I told
Even
you,
though I think we've gone, we've
How
dragged
is
you
the
up.
beach an extreme? Are you? That's weird.
It's
Those
an
are-
extreme for him.
These are extremes because why can't we just enjoy like nature in other ways? I like the greenery. You know?
I don't mean to judge, but I'm judging. Like, what?
It's okay. You can listen.
Are you good? Dear black man, are you good? Like, you don't want the beach?
I am good, but I'm just saying the beach to me is so boring. I'm just like, there is nothing to do but sit in this heat and just do what?
Go to sleep. Yeah.
But I can do that in the comfort of my home and
read
not
a
sweating.
Read a book.
I can read a book under a tree with a nice breeze.
The rest you get on a beach, I'm sorry. I think that's the best sleep.
Wow.
Those
you know a little something about that, right?
Don't let you be a little drunk too. After you done got in the water and you had a couple, had a couple beer. You know, you out there like that's sleep.
You ain't supposed to get in the water when you drink. What are y'all doing?
What scripture is that? I ain't never seen that in the Bible. What you
I don't know.
about?
Apparently, it's a rule because it does something to your body and your stomach be jiggling.
Yeah, but I'm black. I'm gonna
we don't believe those rules.
I'm gonna get in with my drink. Okay, very very mindful, very drunk in the water.
Very much so. We love to see it.
Very hope I don't drown.
All right. Next question. We about to get all in your business. Relationship status, Keys. Are you single? Are you taken? Or is it complicated? We know how them situationships be.
You know,
a
mess. Single and very much so looking.
Single and ready to mingle.
That I am. Yes.
Are you looking to mingle or are you looking for a relationship?
Oh, honestly, relationship. I would enjoy one. Yes.
Okay. Well,
like I wouldn't do
out there who are interested. Slide
date with some intention.
Key said, "Take me out these streets, y'all. Unpackers. Y'all heard it.
Please.
Yes, I better get a wedding invite too, because the setup came from here. I don't care what they say. The setup came from here. I'm the first toast. Like, all right, hold up before the cameras get up. Let me just say, it just happened because of me and Eric. Eric, stand up too. This was up
right now.
It wasn't nothing until we came and said something on our platform. What's something you absolutely cannot live without? Yes, y'all did. I hope y'all saw the information, the contact information we done dropped for y'all.
Yes.
Okay, slide in those details, those DMs right below. What's something you cannot live without?
Oh, my books. I need them. I literally have a stack right here with me. I am ready to go. Yes, very much so. Give me my books.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now Keys, we know that you've been out here doing your influencer thing and different parts of the country or the world have been calling you. We were just talking about that last night over dinner. So the next question is, if you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be? Where you going next? Potentially.
If I could live anywhere in the world, where would it be? Honestly, I would go to New Orleans next, if I'm going to be fully honest. Like when I visited there, it was just like such a beautiful and rich culture that was down there. And I know everybody has their own things, but like the people, the pace, the politeness, it was all just like perfect in my mind. And I was just like, yo, I could just like walk around and feel like I am walking through history. I feel like there is an ancestral energy that exists there that is like beautiful and strong.
It's strong and it's undeniable.
It is strong.
And don't be standing by that river. You're going to feel the ancestors. Absolutely. I agree.
Very much so. And that's something that I really, really appreciated. So it's one of those solo trips that I know I want to take on my own sometime this year of just experiencing it and just being around the people.
That sounds good. Well,
Mhm.
maybe on that solo trip, you'll meet somebody who was watching and was like, I started sliding the DMs, but I was waiting to catch you by the river with the
Oh,
ancestors. Look at me just trying
okay.
to manifest it all specifically.
I appreciate it. Right at the bayou, Bay at the bayou. Thank you.
Yes. I love their accent too. So that would be a cute little like listening to it for the rest of your life. That accent
One
is
of
like
the
a nice.
best accents. Absolutely. They get
It's
my
one of my
vote.
every single time. It's my favorite. It is my
Yeah.
favorite.
I really like it. Okay, so what is your biggest pet peeve?
Ooh.
Oh, inefficiency. Do not like inefficiency at all. Like it's gonna cook me every single time. If I know there's a way to get this done in a way that's efficient but also human centered, I'm gonna do it every single time. I'm such like a systems thinker, and so when I'm just like, this is an easy solve it, or if you should listen, do that. But yes, please, just don't be inefficient around me.
The Virgo is Virgoing.
It did.
Oh,
I'm not gonna lie.
real bad.
Through and through.
Real bad.
It's such a peeve.
But it's also understood. Listen, so this is the last question. It's going to roll us right into the interview portion of tonight with you. What's the boldest thing Marquise has ever done? Unpack for us.
Ooh, the boldest
Get deep
thing that
with this.
yeah. Oh, that one's tough. The boldest thing that I have ever done. I'm not gonna hold. That was honestly, 2019. The boldest thing I've ever done was quit my job without a plan. I was in a space, I was working as a full-time social media and content consultant in my hometown, and I just realized that's the first time I ever felt like unmotivated to get out of bed. It was the first time that I was just very sad. I was just like, oh, I don't like going to work, and it doesn't feel like I'm gonna always be good at my job, but I'm not feeling fulfilled. And that's something that I had realized was like, if I did not take that step of just being like, nah, this ain't this ain't working for me,
This ain't
I would
it.
have, it's not it. But in me doing that is the first time I decided to just take a leap of faith. Um, and that's what ended me up in Philly, to be honest. Like, if I wouldn't have done that in 2019, I would have been at a miserable job because I'm doing everything I was supposed to do. Right? I
Yeah.
graduated high school. I graduated college. I'm the first in my family to do it. And then I got a job right out with benefits, I was making 40,000 outside of college. I was like, this is pretty good as like a first job, whatever.
Yeah.
And also just to make that kind of money in my hometown, that still meant something, right? Because it's not too expensive to live in Reading. But I also recognize like that's when I learned I was a purpose-driven person. I'm not a task-oriented person. Like, yes, I get the task done, but like if there's not any purpose behind the work that I do, it just does not sit with me. And so for me, I had to be audacious in following what I wanted, but that's what ended up getting me an education. That's what got me to Philly. And honestly, if I wouldn't have did that, got into the education tip, I wouldn't have met Sterling, which means I wouldn't have met Eric, and then it kind of went from there. And so like that domino effect of how I started like this next chapter of my life, and honestly, where I call is like the start of my adult years, wouldn't have happened if I wouldn't have taken that leap of regularly just being like, this does not serve me. So I'm just going to send this message, quit, not even go in. Don't need no 2 weeks, no nothing. I know it's not serving me. So I had to just lean into what I needed.
Yeah. And you perfectly just kind of put us in a position, as Eric said, to go right into the interview portion because you mentioned being from Reading, and I'm interested, like, take us back. I love to when people are content creators and the entrepreneurs, when they've done a lot, when they're successful, to kind of go back to those humble beginnings. Like, what was the
Yeah.
makings of Marquise, right? So take us back to those early days in Reading, PA. Like, what was it like growing up there, and how do you think it shaped your perspective?
Oh, Reading has absolutely shaped everything about me, if I'm fully honest. It's the place where I have found my true definition of what community feels like. It has also radically shaped my politic in terms of like how I think about humanity and other people. It has also made me want to become a curious person about how other people live. I don't assume that my way is the only way to live, especially because it wasn't just homogeneously Black. It was every kind of person I grew up with, from being whatchamacallit, there's Mennonites, Haitians, Dominicans, Mexicans, like Black Americans, Colombians, Puerto Rican. I had everybody around me, right? And so growing up in that space, it forced me to understand that everybody's norms are different. we might experience the world in similar ways in terms of like how growing up in a very low income city, like it was poverty below the poverty line type situation. And so growing up with not too much forced me to be like, okay, well, what do I actually value? So that taught me, one, I don't actually value material things. I value the safety and comfort that some things can give us, but I also recognize like growing up without a lot. I grew up in a space of love, but I didn't grow up with necessarily like all the newest shoes and all the biggest houses in the world. I'm the middle of 5 kids, so my mom did what she needed to do, especially as a single parent. But I name all of those pieces because growing up the middle of 5, being the only one in my family to go to school for like an advanced degree, and actually first to graduate from high school, and then first to graduate from a 4-year college.
Wow.
And the only to graduate from the 4-year college, it shaped a lot of like the responsibility that I feel towards my family, but also the sacrifices that were made in order for me to get there, the ways in which that community poured into me, because they were like, Marquise, there's never been a time where they were like, Marquise isn't going to do something great. I've heard that a lot in life of growing up. They were just like, Marquise is special. You're going to do something. We always believed in you. So from teachers to community members to people holding me accountable, from people keeping me out of trouble, being like, Marquise, I don't want you around that stuff, right? Stick with your books. I walked with my cello on my back all the time for 10 years. Like they knew what to expect. And so for me, I was always quiet but observant. And so a lot of people are also very quick to just be like, oh, you've always been like that. And I'm like, no, I was quiet and reserved and watched. And so I think in that, it also allowed me to understand those friends that I grew up around as well. We were all from different worlds. So I understood when I went to Ari's house to take off my shoes and greet the eldest person in the room. When I went to my boy Emilio's house, it was also understanding, hey, there are like gender dynamics in this space that don't exist in my household, right? And so even just understanding how people live, the religious differences, the identity differences, allowed me to enter in space, and I don't have to act like I know everything. Now, I'm a little hard-headed because, the Virgo in me be acting like I like to know a lot. However, I am respectful of other people's humanity and want to consider the world in ways in which that I think a lot of us forget to, because we always see a distance. But for me, growing up, I have learned to see like different experiences and different things that I may not experience, right? Like a lot of my close friends were undocumented. And so like immigration is a big thing that matters to me, but that also requires me to care or have enough empathy to understand this may not impact me, but it impacts somebody I care about. And so how do we like continue to move in a space like that? So Reading has shaped me to be curious, considerate, but also wanting to continue to chase and really indulge in community. Because I would say, like, I got to go across the street. I know my neighbors. So I make it a point now as an adult to know my neighbors here in Philly, because I'm like, if I can't go across the street and ask you for some sugar, is that what community is? That's not how I imagine community. That's not how I experienced community growing up. And so for me, it's, what are their names at the bodega? So I already know there's Claudie or there's Armando who serves me my breakfast when I just need a quick bacon, egg, and cheese, right? Just salt, pepper, ketchup, ready to go, right? Like they already know what that is. And so I think for me, that's how Reading has shaped me into who I am, but also has dictated the ways in which I see. And it's sometimes painful optimism that I see in the world, but I do have optimism that not all people are garbage and that we all have the capacity to change and be better when we are in community and true community with each other. Yeah.
Yeah. Kai, I just want to say it's so refreshing to hear that a first generation, someone coming from being a first generation student, being a first generation to leave home and do quote unquote better, right, than a lot of people who are at home, that you had that support. Because sometimes what we hear is that if a lot falls on the first generation people, and it's a lot of stress and unfortunate, you even down to those conversations we had where oh, you sound white when you go back home for summer break. Like a lot of first generation students and adults are dealing with a lot of heaviness being the first generation. So that's just really refreshing to hear how you were supported, Keys.
Yeah, and I was honestly challenged because like if I didn't come home with my education and do the things I did, my older brother wouldn't have inspired me to like be a little bit more mindful around podcasting, to be honest. Like I came home and I said, we got to be down with white supremacy, patriarchal capitalism, and this, that, and the third. And he said, what did you just say? But in that he was
go ahead.
Yeah, but in that I also learned, he was just like, are you actually helping people if me, your brother that you grew up with, am not understanding anything that you're talking about, if you can't explain this in terms that I can understand, I can't articulate if you're helping me or not. Like there's a language barrier that began to happen. And so even in that change, I was like, oh, that's what bred one of my first solo podcasts, This American Negro, because in that podcast, my goal was how do I bridge academia in the hood? And so like, that's what my mission of that podcast was, because my older brother was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Make it plain for me to be able to connect these dots, because I know you want to do good, but I don't have the same access point that you have, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And no, I just wanted to say, not only is it refreshing with you being, the first one to graduate high school and to graduate college, I understand that I have similar family dynamics, so I know how huge that is. But then for your upbringing, the optimism you talked about, you called it maybe even a hopeless optimism. Like you feel it when you talk to you, like you feel that in your energy, and I love that. Your upbringing sort of like was the foundation for that. Not a lot of us have that. There's not a lot of Black men in the world where we have to navigate it like Black men and have those experiences that are like hopefully optimistic. So you're hopefully optimistic, not hopelessly, because it's really inspiring. I just wanted to say that.
I appreciate that, truly. It takes a while. Like, I get it. The world is tough. It is a tough space to be in. But I see the community that I have around me, and I see what I grew up with. So it's hard for me to imagine a world without. If we can replicate this outside more and more, I think that's so important.
Yeah.
We love it, and we love the unpacking. And can I believe we only have like 5-10 minutes left with you? But before we leave, we gotta talk about the podcast. Part of the reason why you came and showed up here tonight. So
yes,
host Marquise Davon, host of Keepin It a Bean, talk to us, unpack for the folks that are listening and watching. Talk about your podcast. What motivated you to get it started? What motivates you to keep it going? Because we all know here in this room that podcasting is not the easy feat. And for those who haven't tuned in yet, what can they expect?
So Keepin It a Bean is a podcast that brings together commentary and culture all over a cup of coffee. Keepin It a Bean, coffee bean, put it all together. I said I like a good pun,
Branding.
But and you get it. It's going to be a good through line. Stop playing with him. But Keepin It a Bean was brought about because I've been podcasting for 8 years. This is my 8th year of podcasting. And so even being in this world for that long, I had always understood like purpose is what keeps me doing this thing more and more. And so I understand the use of media. I understand the use of storytelling, and Keepin It a Bean is, keeping it 100, tell your story. What is your most authentic self? And can I create a space where you have permission to be your most authentic self? So my job is to allow people to tell stories that are compelling, but one that doesn't come off preachy, right? Like there are some things where I can just be like, yeah, we should do this and do this. But when you hear somebody like a Eric come on a show and just be like, I don't know what's going on now. I need to know what happens after this. And for people to just be like, oh, I identified a lot with this episode because I am still figuring out this content creation space. I'm still trying to figure out like, what does it mean to move on when your story begins to change and your purpose is evolving? And so these are things that happen because now you can see identities of different Black people. And for me, the majority of people I interview are Black men. And so even for different Black men to utilize storytelling as a way to build empathy and community, to me is the most important thing, because now I can humanize an Eric, I can humanize a Kai, I can humanize a Izzy, I can humanize Elijah in different ways, because now you get to see how he exists. And it's also a podcast where, for all intents and purposes, this is probably my least produced podcast in terms of content. And so it's like, oh, I get to just sit back and chat with friends and peers that I respect. And you get to see me in a different light, where it's not just like, all right, y'all, here's what the strategy and use this research to compel this and blah, 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 blah. This one, you get to see me joke around. You get to see a lot more of my personality, but you also get to see the community around me a lot more. And I hope that what people can expect from Keepin It a Bean is whenever they enter this space, I drop every Sunday morning, and it's like your Sunday morning listen, right? You can chill out with some friends. You can grab your cup of coffee. You can enjoy the conversation. But it's also a third space for people. I want people to feel like they have permission to bear witness to what it means to be a liberated Black man, to feel free in the space that we have, but also just to be around so many other people. My community is vast, and I want to invite people into that world to also experience the world in the ways in which that I see it, with the thing that I love the most, which is coffee and people.
Yes. And you're doing good. The numbers are numbering, okay?
Thank you.
The folks are coming out and supporting, and Eric and I talk a lot about it's one thing to do the thing and be good at the thing. It's another thing to be affirmed and supported by your community. When you have those events, the fact that you're able to fill a room, that says everything that you need to hear about the work that what those 8 years have meant to people. And that's like a reminder to you that it has not been in vain. Shout out to the Clark sisters.
Okay.
We want to give you a congratulations because we mentioned it a little bit at the top of the interview, but you done launched a coffee blend. Leroy's blend is out. My boy got his own bean in these streets. Y'all hear it?
I do.
So big congratulations from the
Speaking of keeping it a bean, right?
Right. Speaking of keeping it a bean,
you got your
own
bean.
And selling the beans out here to the folks.
Mine is on the way. I already put my.
Oh, you haven't tried it yet. You haven't tried it yet, Eric.
No, at the
he did try it.
You had, yes, I did.
Yeah, you had a private tasting.
Yes.
Okay, so before I asked Keith what inspired him to like jump into this, and like you spoke a little bit about the through line. We want to hear more about it. You really got to unpack that a little bit for us because there are a lot of people who, that level of entrepreneurship, the girls can never. And so we need to hear about it. But first, Eric, you tasted the coffee. What you think? What was it giving? Because you're a coffee drinker.
I am. I'm not. I'm becoming more of a coffee connoisseur. So I actually appreciate like Keith opening up once again, creating space, or as Kai would say, creating spaciousness. Right.
Okay. Love that.
Yes, we love it to step in. So I appreciate being in this space because it usually is Folgers. Waking up to Folgers in your cup. Okay. With a little bit of cream.
Single.
A little bit.
Yeah. And that was enough for me. But Keith is telling stories, he's building community. And Leroy's blend, he'll unpack for us. It's just like, so it's such an inspiring story behind it. So that definitely motivated me to buy it. But I love the coffee, good coffee. And I don't know if we have the link that we could put down here, or I think it's actually on your Instagram page, right? So for the folks who are listening and for the folks who are watching, just tap on Diamond. If you could throw Keith's tags back up for the folks that are listening and watching, just go to the Instagram page and tap the bio link and get your Leroy's coffee.
Please do. Yeah, Leroy's is such a labor. It's not even honestly a labor. It's the thing that's been keeping me dreaming so much more presently now as well, because it's a physical piece that people can gather around. And so I'll make a long story less long. Leroy's blend is actually named after my Pop Leroy. And I really just love the ways in which he taught me the values of presence and also patience, because we used to go fishing over the summer. And so I wanted people to be invited to the world of what it meant when I sat over the Delaware River and went fishing with my Pop Leroy. But he said, continue to be present in the world that's around you. But that's what happens when you go to catch the fish. It's not going to bite right away. You got to wait for a little bit. But when it's there, you need to be ready to pull, right? And so that's what I do with my coffee every morning. I grind my beans in the morning. I heat my coffee in my electric kettle. I get my French press. I pour the coffee in a counterclockwise motion, but it allows me to be present with something that we kind of passively engage with every single day, whether going to work or talking to people and all of that. So it's my way of just saying, hey, stop, slow down, actually think around like what you are drinking as well, because my beans originate from Guatemala. And so there's going to be a rich, dark chocolate flavor to it. You're going to have a little bit of like fruity notes to it as well. And so through this, I was able to partner with BVP Coffee. And through this partnership, I want to become partner to competitor within the next 2 years. And so that's really where. Okay, and I am. And it will happen. And I will. But it's awesome because I get to honor legacy in a different kind of way, but it also is able to like work a different part of my brain that I don't always get to flex. So it's one way to honor my Pop Leroy that I keep with me at all times. But also it is a way for people to be invited into the world that I love, which is coffee, and almost like this world of cafe. So it just makes sense to bring it together of coffee and conversations, keeping it a bean, Leroy's, Marquise. It all is just a fuller extension of myself.
Oh, you're gonna be opening your own coffee shop with books.
That's
I see that for you.
That's my long-term goal. I want a coffee shop named Leroy's where I'm also employing formerly incarcerated people. So then the way we can do workforce development, but also be able to get them jobs and GEDs, and hopefully also go into college degrees as well, because then that can give much more access and opportunity, particularly to systems impacted Black folks.
Is the vision for me.
Oh, yes. Hey, I'm going by 35. I said my 5-year plan. We out here.
It is Ashe.
Yes. Thank you.
Dear Black man, what a perfect segue. Our last question for you tonight is, what's next for you? You just started to unpack, but
Mhm.
let the viewers know what's going on with Keys for 2025. What's coming up that's
Yeah.
exciting for you? What do the people need to know about?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So two big things. One, continue to buy Leroy's. Y'all are running it up, and I'm loving it. Make sure you can also buy your mugs from me as well. Hello to Black people and Black people only.
That's the
Insert other
edited
word
version.
there. And
I don't
it
have
is.
much.
Thank you so much.
I got the mug. I should have brought it.
But
Cool.
but in 2025, I really, really think, especially in this political climate, community is going to be the most important thing that we need. And like I said, I want my podcast to be a third space. So I'll be doing 6 live podcast events called Spill the Beans. So we're going to bring that full circle, where we bring together expertise, but also workshops. So come
I'm
through,
copyrighting
enjoy.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, you will not come on
Not a
Unpacking and
cease
play a
and
game and then
desist.
call
Don't
it
do
out.
that. Don't do that. Don't do
Not a cease and
that.
desist on the way. Oh my.
But the event is called Spill the Beans. So it brings together a fireside chat. And so people can leave inspired, but they can also leave with something tangible. So if I'm talking to marketing experts, you're going to be able to know how to build out a marketing plan and a rollout by the time you leave the space. But it also will combine community where different people can come in for vending, but then you're also going to have a rotation of different Black-owned coffee roasters come in so you can also taste their coffees as well. So I really want this to be a space of people experiencing different coffee blends that's not just mine. But then also my music event series, Due Diligence, will be coming back in 2025 as well. So we'll be interviewing local artists here in Philly and the tri-state area, but also having an opportunity to get people to re-engage and become active listeners and consumers of music and culture all over again. So that event I host with my boy Bao Moore, local
Such a
R&B
good
and neo soul
time.
artist here. Yeah,
The way
Eric's
you
been to a
curate
couple,
those
so we
events,
here.
yes, it is such a vibe, such a good time. What an amazing way to incorporate music, art,
Mhm.
and conversation right there, all
All
at one
together.
event. I mean, you can't get that more intimate with the artist, Keys.
Okay. And so that's really the big thing of this year is I want to gather a lot of data so I can become a little bit more understanding of what my community is looking for in terms of content and whatnot. So you'll keep getting those, but you'll also be able to just enjoy live shows, which I'll be partnering with Indie Hall with the entire way through for this year. So I'm super, super excited to just be able to be in community and be able to touch people and have them just be in spaces where we can engage in present dialogue, but also being able to just experience different worlds that they may not have before. Yeah.
We love it. We love it. Listen, you
We
busy
kept it a
this
bean
year.
tonight, Kai.
And we did.
Okay. We kept
Did
it
we
a
not?
bean.
We kept it a bean, right, Kai?
Y'all kept it a whole bean. It was nice to unpack with y'all. I see what y'all
You
did there.
spill
Stop
beans.
playing. Okay, spilling beans.
Spilling beans. Beans are everywhere. Thank you so
Yes.
much, Marquise, for being with us, unpacking with us. You were the perfect first guest for us for the live portion of Unpacking. Unpacking Unplugged couldn't have asked for a better person to be our first guest. For real, for real. We
Y'all
really
are amazing.
love and respect you, definitely. And we are rooting for
Yes.
you any ways in which we can support. And listen, y'all be back. Y'all don't just watch this one, y'all subscribe because we have a lot more amazing
Hit that
guests coming
subscription
up.
button.
Yes,
Yes.
y'all gonna stress Eric out if you don't. Please just go ahead and subscribe. Okay. Okay.
Support us.
Okay.
We got something beautiful we trying to do here, y'all. We need y'all support.
Absolutely. Support us like y'all support Marquise. We trying to be like him with a nice little 5-year plan.
With the impressions. Okay. Impressions and 5-year plans. Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight. Whether you're listening, watching, you're on radio, you're on the live, we appreciate you being here. And until next week, we'll be back next week at 7 p.m. Bye, guys. Have a good night.
Good night, y'all.
Peace.
Peace.
Bye.